Item B.
Okay, the next one is new to the entire board. I'm short. One's still here. Then west is back there in Bradley. Okay, the county has pictometry. I don't know if you know. You've seen all of our maps that you see, the free stuff and all that. Pictometry brings the buildings up into 3D configuration, and you'll see in a minute what it does. We've last done that in 2010, which is 6 years now, it'll be 7 years, when Josh Pope was here. Josh Pope left the county, and at that time when we did it, 911 monies paid for the project, $170,000 at the time. The state allowed them to do that. So we were, when one of us met, we were under the impression that we could possibly use 911 monies again. That's no longer the case, because the state does fly orthos, but at a higher level and only one dimensional. Compounding this is the state also, and in the letter that you received from me, in the reassessment part of it, the state's really going to start tracking down from the Department of Revenue on how the counties do their work. If we all remember the Mecklenburg fiasco that they had 2 years ago, well, to alleviate that problem of the legislators going into session and making all kind of laws, the Machinery Act gives the Department of Revenue total authority over the revaluations. That's setting up the funds, setting up personnel and all that. They're going to require the counties starting next year to turn in your plans for revaluation, check your personnel if they're certified and all that. And we're supposed to have a revaluation fund. We did away with that a few years ago, but that's probably going to come back to play during budget time again. So setting up the personnel, they adopting the International Association of Assessing Officers guidelines. Based on those guidelines, we're supposed to have one appraiser for every 8 to 10,000 parcels. So that means we need minimum 4.5 appraisers. I have 3. So if you're looking at purchasing an appraiser for the workload compared to what this will do, and we can get by with using this tool as part of the appraisal system, then we don't have to hire personnel. If I hire personnel, I use that personnel and the work just stays with that one project. The pictometry, even when I take possession of it, then all the emergency people gather that tool too. The 911 dispatch, the law enforcement, the fire enforcement, they can pull up all those pictures. One's group is probably the most active in using that technology with all emergency people. And it does a lot of other things. Bradley Robinson with Pictometry is going to give you about a 5 to 10 minute overview of the project through the monitors here, and it will fully demonstrate the difference, because it's abstract in your mind right now. This will show, and then we'll discuss a little bit further. Right.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Mr. Manager, thanks for having me tonight. As Richard mentioned, my name is Bradley Robertson. I'm the District Manager for Pictometry in North Carolina and South Carolina. I'm going to try to make a little sense out of what Richard was saying about what we do and what we plan to do for the county. Pictometry is a company that's located up in Rochester, New York. I'm based locally in South Carolina and probably the 2 states I mentioned before. One of the largest aerial imaging firms. We are the largest digital aerial imaging firm in the world. We work with 1,343 counties in the U.S., which represents about 43% Widespread integrations, and these are key because we work with companies like Keystone that Mr. Lightner works with all the time, and the Macon County CAD system, which is interactive. So what that means is you can use our imagery and software to integrate with these systems that they already have in place so they don't disrupt any workflows. Currently we have 26 patents pending our camera system, technology, image capture process, and image measurement. Basically, before we came along, if you purchased aerial imagery, it was from a top-down ortho perspective. What we did was designed a way to capture imagery at an angle to give you more of a natural perspective with height to scale or 3D, as we mentioned before. We geo-reference every pixel that we take so you can take accurate measurements. It's very useful for many departments within the county. It says here that we have 115 U.S.-based aircraft that will be flying early next year. Flight window is typically leap-off conditions, so it's mid-December to probably early March in most situations. Resolutions are 3 and 9 inch. That's basically, if you can picture a 3-inch pixel on the ground from an airplane, a 9-inch. We typically do the 3-inch in the more populated areas, 9-inch in the more rural areas. We also have a disaster coverage in our contracts. In this particular area, I would say if you had an EF4 or greater tornado, we would come back immediately, and when I say immediately, within a matter of days, to fly the affected area up to 200 square miles with no cost, and process that imagery for you in a very rapid manner. It's called rapid access, so that county departments can use it for whatever they may need. This is a fairly current map of our customers in North Carolina, with the exception of Lenore, Franklin, Lee, Surrey County, who are coming on board to fly, and this next flight season starts in January. This will kind of illustrate what we're talking about. When I say ortho or orthogonal top down, this is the image of what you can get. It's really hard to tell what this is, but if you look at it from a 45-degree angle, you can tell it's a blind glass. Same thing for other types of technology that use oblique imagery to help further the visual intelligence that you can get from something. This is a traditional oblique image, very sharp and crisp, still very important for mapping purposes and things like that, but there's only so much you can get out of it. If we were looking at it before, it'd be hard to tell what that is on the ground, but a 40 to 45-degree angle will let us know it's a church. Plus it's geo-reference, so we have all the information. Any GIS layer that Wes has available to him can be uploaded into the software so that you can visualize it on here. So what we do is provide you with the standard ortho that you're used to getting here in the center, but we also give you, for each pixel, we're going to give you a cardinal direction, north, south, east, and west, 45-degree angle, so that you can get a lot more information from the imagery. Here's an example of residential 3-inch imagery. This is the ortho perspective. If you look at it from north, south, east, and west, from written standpoint, you get a lot more information and a lot more detail about this parcel. From a 911 perspective or law enforcement, if I'm serving a high-risk warrant, I can visualize all this information during the daytime and have accurate measurements taken on it and really pre-plan what I want to get in, what I'm getting into if I'm going to make a visit to this particular parcel. Furthermore, it reduces the amount of time needed or spent out in the field and reduces the cost on county assets, things of that nature, to travel out to visit a parcel when you can pull it up on the desktop. This is another example of 3-inch imagery out of the rural areas. This is 9-inch, still very clear, still the oblique angle. One of the components of our software is a product called Change Finder. What this helps us do is compare imagery from the past, which I think he said 2010, to new imagery that we would capture in 2017 or beyond. And what it does is we take the new imagery and we create footprints or building outlines for every structure in the county that's 150 square feet or greater, and we create a polygon of that. We serve that up to you as a shapefile so that can be used for any department within the county. And then compare it to the old imagery and see what's changed. And that includes demolitions, it includes additions, and we use the oblique imagery for that as well. And this would really help Richard in his reval situation, because what this will do, what we find is customers that fly with us, every 2 to 3 years, especially a 3-year when they're going to find about 17 to 20% change. So this gives him a really targeted approach to revaluation, so he can not spend so much time on the 80% of things that have not changed, and really focus on the 20% of things that have changed. How we do it, this is just a little visualization of our PinterView camera system, which we design and build ourselves. We don't have an off-the-shelf camera, so we actually manufacture these ourselves, and we created our own image processing software as well. So every time that camera closes, we get those 5 different images straight down in 45-degree angle. We claim to make the best image quality in the industry, and I think most people that use our product will tell you that. As I mentioned before, all geo-reference, you can take accurate measurements on that from many different departments. You can upload any GIS layer that you want to on it, so it can be visualized on there. We capture it in one low altitude flight. With a purchase from us, you will receive a hard drive with 30,000 images on it. Can be used on a desktop situation or installed on a server so that you can use it on any desktop if you lose connectivity. But we also have an online cloud-based software as well that comes with the delivery. Something we're really proud of is that we deliver this imagery within 45 to 60 days routinely. So we'll probably capture sometime in the late January timeframe. You're looking at using or putting this imagery to use in probably April. We offer on-site training for anybody within the county. It's a county-wide license. We can also do municipalities if the counties saw fit to allow them to use it as well. We can train anybody within the county who wants to use the country. Obviously, Richard has an interest here, but public safety, police, fire, EMS, every department. 911, I mentioned the CAD system. So instead of looking at an ortho or a top-down image when somebody calls 911 from a specific geo-reference location, it would pop up the image of the side of the building. So it puts the dispatcher, the first responder, and the caller all on the same page. Public Works and Utilities, that's another group. It's actually the 3rd biggest user of Pictometry. GIS, planning, drawing, and so forth. These, you'll see judicial and prosecutor, these are authoritative images. They are state stamped. They have been used in a court of law. And working with Pete, mainly Wes and Richard here, we've come up with a coverage map or a proposed flight map for Macon County. We've obviously omitted a lot of the national forests. What you're looking at here, these little squares represent 1 square mile. The ones in green are what we would do at a 9-inch resolution. That's really a lower resolution, more rural areas. And the ones in white, which have the boundaries or the shape files that Wes has submitted to me. These are the ones where we fly the higher resolution, the 3-inch imagery. And when you look at all that combined, we come up with 451 sectors of the 9-inch and 62 sectors of the 3-inch. And that's reflected in the contract that I hope you have in front of you. And with that, I'll take any questions that you have. I'm sure you have some.
Line 3-inch, you're looking at that Commissioner Bill out somewhere.
That's actually depending on the speed. But I will tell Richard that.
Like I said, this is something we've done in the past with 911 money. What my letter to you guys indicated that we was going to ask for a down payment and go forward. However, we reworked the contract, and with the authorization of the board, Mr. Rowland has indicated that we could find it in the budget and go forward. And Mr. Jones has indicated that, he will review the contract to get everything done. What we need from the county board is authorization for the county manager to implement the contract after the review and correction of Mr. Jones, so this can go forward, because as I stand here right now, we are supposed to have notices for the new values 2 years from about today's date. So we got 23 months. I'm sorry?
$8,100, work that out.
Yeah, we already worked that out.
So,
We're just going forward July 1. They have to fly. The only time you can fly in Macon County is you got to fly after no snow on the ground and before the leaves come out. So you're looking at a date late January to mid-February, latest third week of February. That's the only time you have to fly. So if we don't fly this year, we'd have to fly next year, and that'd be 2018. In 2018, the project's no use to me. It's used to warning them, but it wouldn't be no use to me, so we wouldn't get the most coverage. And now, I don't know if you caught it, these images, I'll just bring up one case. When we had that one of those shootings at one of those houses at night, and you don't know about the houses, so your law enforcement and your 911 people will have where they can see 4 sides of that house and think there's 4 exits to this house, there's 2 stories or not 2 stories. All that will be available because it will be on their police units, plus it'll be at the 911 dispatch unit. So all these people will use it. The town of Franklin uses it. The town of Highland, they have access to it. I don't know if they used it the last time, but I know the planning people are really good. You can draw, like I know Mr. Jenkins is in the audience, you can draw, you can see a tower and you don't know where the paperwork is. It's so accurate you could draw that tower out and say it's a 172-foot tower. You can draw the building and say it's got a 14-foot ceiling. That's how accurate it is. So those are the tools we're talking about. I think you had a question?
Yeah. From a cost standpoint, this, the way I read this, it's 8131 times 6.
actually,
No.
What's the cost?
35.
It's 33,000 a year.
oh, there was no time.
That was just what we was asked for down payment. The actual cost will be $32,523.68 a year, and this is for 2 flights, so that will go on for 6 years. So the total cost is $195,232. And the reason that we're bringing this, if we don't have these tolls, whether the revaluation is going to be, I'm going to be at the county manager's office and the state's going to say I need 4, 5, 6 appraisers, and you'll have to write a check. But what happens is I'll have a personnel with the legacy costs, and the emergency people will have nothing. So last time Warren paid for this, and I didn't have to pay. This time I'm paying through the reval, and Warren's going to benefit, well, I say Warren, the whole emergency network. So that's how we came presenting it tonight.
I can't help but ask the question, but I presume this wasn't in the budget because the E911 funds paid for it in the past, and it was not expected, they weren't going to pay for them.
They cannot do it because state gives you the one level imager, just the flat roof down. So when the state said we do that, they cut that, you can't use it for anything like this, plus other things. Plus they cut the service fee back where the county don't, have that money come in.
Question for you, County Manager. I know that obviously tax uses it, EMS uses it, fire uses it, the Republic's probably been using benefit from it. Is that something that needs to remain in his budget if we do this moving forward, or do you split it between?
The way I see it,
Nothing in that, all comes from the same.
right, in terms of this year's budget, we're not going to be able to bring out in this year's budget. We're just basically giving a commitment. They're going to fly on that commitment that we're giving. We're going to come through next year with the 32.5. When Richard explained this to me, just like you heard tonight, when we're able to do what we do in-house, having 43,000 parcels, using 3 appraisers, when you think about that and what those guys are doing, it's really amazing. And we do have Pictometry in place right now, and we used it during this last revaluation, just like we'll use it in the next revaluation. The change finder that he alluded to, when you can sit at a computer and click on a piece of property rather than having to go to each property, and it shows you what they've added on since the last revaluation, then that automatically, those guys can measure it, height, get the square footage of that improvement right there, and basically put a value on it without leaving their desk or their computer. And if, to continue operating in-house, and like Richard said, the requirements of the state, they're getting more strict and more strict on how we do revaluations. So, we do have this technology right now. As it integrates with Richard's Keystone tax software that we currently use, and it's basically you're taking the place of 1.5 appraisers for tax. Now, that's not counting Warren and his department, especially dispatch. They're looking at this stuff every day. Would that be safe to say, Warren?
Yes, sir. And it is the same way Richard had talked about. In 2009, 2010, that budget year, we paid for the last flight of this out of the 911 fund. And in 2010, the North Carolina 911 Board decided that there were all sorts of different maps across North Carolina. So they decided to standardize the ortho maps for North Carolina, and they paid for those through that NC1 map section. I'm sure you remember that web page. They paid for those out of the 911 fund and deduct that out of our fund. So in the past, Richard was supplying orthos, we were supplying the obliques. And then in 2010, that changed, and now the North Carolina 911 Board supplies the orthos. We just got our last delivery in January of 2016, and now it will be up to Richard to supply the oblique engines. We do use those every day.
The state flip-flopped on us, basically. At one time, we were, to be possible, the county would be responsible for 2 flights. See, the original ortho project, the county, this is 100 years ago, seems like, we paid $475,000 for the original mapping project. But then we also, through the 911 fund, paid for the Pictometry. Well, now, the state giving us the one project, so we still have to pay for it.
The fact is, Richard, over the years, we know what's happened in our zoning and other counties and counties because people live, what they pay for appraisal. And they have to stop and midstream and go back and redo what it's costing. Yet Macon County continues to save money by having 3 in-house, and the money that we save is already paid for it. It's already paid for them. It's what you have to do more than more.
Well, I
know
know
how that technology is. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You have to use. It's just the next step in technology that we have to do to provide better services for all our departments and for our citizens. So I don't know what we need to do. What we need to do.
This $200,000 project, so you got another process from anybody else?
There's nobody else in the country that does it.
There's no about this, the only company in the country.
The way they do it is patented. That's through the 26 patents or something like that. The other companies fly
Why
flat.
aren't you doing every county in the state if you're on one that does it?
Well, we're adding 5 counties this coming season. We're growing at an exponential rate. We don't have the capacity to fly 100 counties or all 2,500 counties in the country at once. Last season we had 100 airplanes. This season we have 115 aircraft flying countywide projects. We'll do about 600 countywide projects in January, February timeframe. So to answer your question, I think it's a matter of time. We're going to need a lot more aircraft, a lot more camera systems, things of that nature to be able to do that. But we are headed in that direction.
Another thing is, every county don't need it. See, we're rated a medium-sized county now with everything. So we're rated with the Stanley counties and the Lee counties and everybody else. People like Graham County or Scotland County or Pamlico County or Hartford County or some of those counties don't need this. I mean, Jones County has 8,000 parcels and 80% of it farmland. So they don't need the code for assessment. So that's one of the big reasons. The other reason is, like I said, if we don't go with this, then I'll be back asking for 1 or 2 more appraisers. And it takes 2 years to get an appraiser certified. So that's not going to help us in this project. And the cost is, average appraiser $35,000 plus your other costs involved with it will run you about $60,000 to $70,000 a year. So, it's just a way of continue of providing service. Now, if we go out, the county can go say, okay, let's go back out and hire a contractor to come in and do the county revaluation. Right now, that'd be, you got 2 years to do it. So the first one, just doing a desktop, will run you about $500,000 to $600,000. That means you wouldn't go out and measure anything. Second one, you do a full measure and list, it would be over $1 million in 2023. The way the state's setting it up, got Mecklenburg in the problem, they didn't visit some of the properties in 17 years. The state's going to recommend through this whole course that they're recommending, the max time that you don't visit property is 8 years. Well, with the number of staff we have and the 26,000 pictures we keep online and everything else, I can only do that about once every other reval. So we'll do half the county at least visiting everything, and the next time we do the other half. With this tool, that cuts that down so you can do that. If not, then you'll have to hire people to meet the requirement of visiting the properties. It's a management thing. And I think Derek asked me, and maybe one commissioner, how did we do it last time? Well, if you don't forget, we postponed it for 8 years, so we was halfway through it, so we had half the county done. We're talking 2 years now.
Just one more comment to your question earlier. It is $195,000, so that is over a 6-year period, and it includes 2 flights. I don't know if that was clear. And what we do as far as the payment plan, in lieu of the situation we have here, we're making no money due until July 1st, which is of 2017. We typically take a deposit, we waive that. And we don't charge any interest or finance charges like that. We allow you to take the cost of the flight and spread it evenly across a 3-year period. You need to pay for your first flight before you get your second flight type deal. So in this situation, it's $32,523 a year. I just want to clear that up for you guys to have this. I'll be happy to get this contract to you. But Richard has an electronic copy, so I can.
I have a copy of the county manager.
I've updated it just as of today to take out that initial down payment. Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Any further questions from the board before we talk?
I'll second that motion.
On the motion and second.
For clarification, it would be to approve this contract that's subject to any changes that I find.
But give the county manager authorization.
Authorization of the county manager.
And I'll second all of them.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I have concerns about spending $200,000 of citizens' taxpayer dollars without some comparable price. That's probably not a lot. But it's spend taxpayer dollars, and if you don't have a competitive bid.
And I asked Richard the same thing. And and it was hard for me to understand it too, because if they're literally the only company that has these patents to provide the images the way you provide. Does any other company do what you guys are doing?
That's my knowledge. I mean, anybody that hangs, oblique is a term. Anybody that hangs out of a helicopter and takes a picture, we call it an oblique image. What makes us different is the fact that we're able to geo-reference in our software that we provide. No one else has the integrations that we have. No one else is going to be able to integrate with the CAD system. No one else is going to be able to integrate with the Keystone software. So our integrations in our software is really what sets us apart. Our imagery is fantastic, it's phenomenal, but it's the integrations in the software that sets us apart.
And those where you have your patents.
Well, the camera system has a lot of patents on it as well. We have, as I mentioned, 26 something patents, and over 30 on the image processing software. And that's really the difference.
You know, to be fair to Mr. Gillespie, part of our mapping, our info is kind of a limited base software too. About 78–90% of the government units are tied to ARC info. So if you want to go out there and get something comparable, you could get something, but it won't be the same tool that all the government units use. So you kind of are limited to certain areas of where you can buy.
And over the 6-year period, when Josh was in 6 years ago, I think I'm the only one that was here 6 years ago. When Josh was $150,000 in a lot of the same places in college he has. Yeah. Right. You know, even though the money come from 911 at that time, that was still. Yeah. You know, if you spread that over that period of time, and knowing if you could go out and hire people, we were facing the same thing, and that was one of the time when it was tough. I mean, we were stretching things and postponing things and doing things differently. So if you have to go out and hire people to replace those things and still not get as good a proposal as you will from the program. I mean, we many counties are so glad to go on the cutting edges. I mean, there's not many counties you can go through today and see what Macon County has.
You know, just our relicensing fees on our softwares through the different ones we have in the county, it runs the county over $100,000 and just to turn your computer on there.
Well, an entry level appraiser, assuming they have the training, and you don't have to take the 2 years to train, you're looking at $55,000 a year salary benefits.
And our neighbor went through, this is their history, went through over high school rebate. Discovered that, well, this is not working, stop. And they hired a contract. This is close to $200,000 to spend that they had to was just free. So, my knowledge is we've never had to go that route either. So, you know, it enhances the technology and the EMS department and all the other departments on the city. So there's people that could, I don't know how many hits you get every day on quality research.
You know, and I think this board needs to really start thinking, we used to think about personnel, but it's technology now. Our software that we use is 40 plus years old. Same software you use when you was in college. To update that software, I don't care where you go, whatever company you want to go to, it's going to be roughly a $2 million job. So this goes in line with, you know, it's to the point that we have to keep coming back, and I'm coming back to Derek and the board this coming year. We have to start spending more on our software because it's not going to be to the point where we can use it efficiently. And this is a tool that's helping. We got a lot of software out there that interconnect, and we pay a lot of money to keep it running because software is so old. And this is what you're going to see a lot of in the future. a lot of software demonstrations and costs going out for companies because we are not in the software business. If you want to develop your own software, get about 20 handy sitting over here writing it. So, I mean, this is just what the county's going to be. We're larger than we used to be, so we have to provide a lot of extra stuff.
We received some good comment, some good testimony, and Carl, I definitely appreciate what you had to say there. I personally, I just think it's an outstanding tool, and although I agree with you in the fact that it would be great to get it out, no offense. But I think it's worth more to us up front than not have it. So, I think it's that you have. Any further comments? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The rest of the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you.